Some big news out of the Port of Corpus Christi today as port officials announced they have secured an agreement with an investment firm to build a major crude oil exporting terminal on Harbor Island near Port Aransas.
It's a project that will be the first of its kind in the U.S. Our Bill Churchwell has more on the project and what it means for this area. Bill.
It's really exciting news for not only for the Port of Corpus Christi, but for the coastal bend, the state of Texas, and actually the nation.
Exciting news. That's because the partnership between the Port of Corpus Christi and one of the largest investment groups in the world called Carlyle will create the first onshore location for an oil export terminal in the U.S. That terminal will be located here on Harbor Island and will be capable of servicing larger vessels.
This project's going to come 75 feet to here.
Port Chairman Charles Zahn Jr. says the construction of the project is estimated at $1.2 billion, and it will come at no cost to taxpayers. It's also expected to create thousands of direct and indirect jobs.
There's no question about it.
The terminal would include the development of at least 2 loading docks on Harbor Island, as well as crude oil tank storage inland across Redfish Bay.
It's so important to the area because we are the energy port of the Americas. That's our vision at the Port of Corpus Christi, and we believe that we've got an abundant supply of oil and gas and refined products that are coming out of West Texas to the Port of Corpus Christi. And by being able to put those on larger vessels, we save our industry partners transportation costs.
The terminal is expected to be operational in late 2020. Bill Churchwell, 3 News.
Thank you, Bill. There's much